Kaskalengut nagararan na chamge chitab kolenjin eno tukilele geren getesiet na ba Nenyon TV atochin logoiywekab emet en koindo kai Nenyon ko Daisy Langat Ngetaune logoiywek county nebo Nandi ole goret agenge nebo gerab EU na mage nebo president nebo imoni nebo age golgeti kichotan billion 15 ko tegenyit nebo 2030 kai much ko magen bitab rani dibi kibagalet en county nebo Nandi agosuldain campaign ana goro ger gole kai much ko net bigab emet ko tingia golset nebo getik akora gosuldain kibagenget nebo ribik kibagaliet golset nebo getik oret agenge nebo geribit tondo nebo emet ngenyorun Elwin Cherop
Kondojin kolsetab ketik eng ketesyosyek tugul chebo police eng county nebo Nandi komwa afisaek choto kole takchingei ichek kokol ketik million 3.6 amait kenyitab 2032.
Now we are here in Nandi to implement that program of presidential directive of tree growing and forest restoration. The other agenda again is to sensitize our officers on the service delivery charter standards, and then Bill of Rights and the police reform process. By the end of 2032, we are supposed to have grown 15 billion trees. And each police officer by 2032 is supposed to have planted 30 trees. So we expect at the end of 2032, 30 trees times an average of 100,000 police officers. So we expect to have planted by 2032, we expect the entire police service to plant 3.6 million trees.
Eng komasta nyi komwa John Momanyi ne ine kondojin ripsetab timwek eng county nebo Nandi kole wendi konamege eun ak afisaekab police asikosuldae tetutienotok bo kolsetab ketik ole kamwa ine kole eng county nebo Nandi ko kikekol ketik chesire million 9.
We have a lot of support from the Kenya Police Service, and this is the way to go. As we plan to go ahead with this planting today, because after this, we are going again to plant another site, which we shall plant over 600 seedlings that is provided by Kenya Forest Service. As Kenya Forest Service, on behalf of the CCF, that's the Kenya Chief Conservator of Forests, we promise you that we shall provide enough seedlings to plant all areas that are within the Kenya Police Service compounds. And our target is to make sure that we reach 15 billion trees. In Nandi County, as we speak today, we have already reached 9,250,000 trees that we have planted. Our total target for the county is 17,100,000.
Kongetege taonitab Kapsabet County nebo Nandi, logoiywekab emet chebo Nenyon TV, kainenyu ko Elwin Cherop.
Logoiywek alak kokaimuch konyorchigei kelchin en betutab rani kipsomaninik chebo sukulit nebo Kaptolwa nemi kot neking'oten ng'atutik nebo Chebalungu kangonyorchigei tangit nebo beek chetililen kobun kampunit noton nebo Aquaclara. Kosubkei ak kandoinatet nebo kampunit noton komwoe kole takyin nebo niton koker kole kakimuch keistoegei yautik chebo rerunet nebo beek chetililen missing ko en kipsomaninik chemiten en sukulit nebo Kaptolwa. Ngenyorun Mark Kiptoo.
Indochi lumdaetab tangitab beek kibagengeit noton nebo Aquaclara ole wendi kotoreti kipsomaninik chebo sukulitab Kaptolo koboto meng'ikab Kaptolo en koneng'oten ng'atutik nebo Chebalungu County noton nebo Bomet.
Today we are here to commission the Hope Tower that is going to provide the water, safe drinking water to learners of Kaptolo Comprehensive School. Our whole intention is to ensure that people have access to safe drinking water. As we know, many of us are affected by waterborne diseases, so we are here to ensure that learners of Kaptolo Comprehensive School and also the community around the school have access to safe drinking water.
Ole kosibkei ak konetindet neo nebo sukulinoton komiten kibagenge koboto meng'ikab komosoton kokamwa kole wendi noton koipchin ichek kelchin kosibkei ak toretet noton nebo Aquaclara.
Aquaclara company for the partnership nekikiyai tugul kibagenge kenyorun beek chetililen cheu chu kikere ak keyoten betutab raini ko kiboiboi nebo iman momi kiy nekergei.
Ko kingoaibu this water filter komera awendi elelo kikotoretech filtaini kabisa.
En kebeberta noton nebo leldet ko kotinye meng'ikab komosoton boiboiyet koityi membatab koneng'oten ng'atutik nebo komosoton Victor Koech Mandazi en last mile noton nebo stimet nekonyorchigei ichek.
En kasarta nekikokoit ko kikobur leldaninyon en oret nekimakebune for a very long time. Nekongobore kichobwech oran kenai kele mandazi ko chito nekoik netai korecognized akemwa kele Kimii mandazi subuhi ak saa sita ak langat. That is mandazi.
Kimwae kongoi neo kabisa amu kakokonech sitimet kokikoyoiwech oret.
Aripotenjini Logoiywekab Emet chebo Nenyon TV kikurenon Mark Kiptoo.
En logoiwek alak kokakomongei katuiyetab kei nebo konetik choto chebo sukulishek chebo secondary en emoni KUPPET akokon kurset nebo keker kele kimuch kekusyi chametab kei ak kalyet noto nebo konetik. Mising en kasarta netesetai kolonye barak maat noto nebo bolotet. Kong'ololi en kanaset noto nebo Nairobi komwa kandoinatet noto nebo KUPPET kole miten alak en konetik cheimuch koyochin komweiso en kebeberwek alak kinetisien kosubkei ak tetutik choto chebo bolotet ole moche ministry nebo ripset nebo kalyet koker ole kaimuch korib tetutik chebo ripset nebo kalyet asimang'emak tetutik chebo somanet.
Natoa onyo kwa wanasiasa na viongozi ambao wanatoa matamshi na kuelekeza injili ya ukabila na kuambia wale ambao sio wa sehemu fulani waweze kuondoka, kwamba hiyo hatutakubali kama chama, kama walimu, sababu walimu ni baadhi ya wale watu ambao wanaeneza ile utangamano ama kukuja pamoja kwa inji. Kumbukeni, azma moja ya elimu ni kuleta ile ushirikiano ama unity katika nchi yetu.
We urge the police, the Directorate of Criminal Investigations and the National Cohesion and the Integration Commission to act with speed to hold politicians to account for the speech before it is too late. Security agencies must also address the emerging culture of goonism, which is
Keisto ke logoiwek choto tinyegei ak somanet ketokyinigei county nebo Uasin Gishu ole kakomongei kandoik choto chebo dinit nebo Islam en county nebo Uasin Gishu akosuldaen sautik choton chebo kamanut kosochin emoni kosubkei ak kandoindet noton nebo kandoindet choton nebo dinit nebo Islam noton ko Abubakar Bini komwae kole koketestai kebaorionji cherutik en emoni ole mwae kole magat en serikalit nebo emoni mising ko ministry nebo ripset nebo kalyet en emet orit ak ministry noton nebo somanet koker kole kaimuch konde kakwautik chebo kiwang'yautik choto chebo belet noto nebo sugulisiek kole nebo konekit ko sugulit noto nebo tibik noto nebo utumishi nemi county nebo Nakuru.
Serikali iandae mikakati kwa sababu mara nyingine huwa wanakaa hivyo, wameona dalili ukame, mazao yatakuwa ni machache, hawaanzi kupanga namna gani watu wataishi baada ya leo, kwa sababu wakati kapofika wakati wa mavuno yatakuwa ni machache na haitoweza kuwastiri watu wote. Sasa watu kikao kimewekwa cha kupanga nini mpaka sasa, ama tunangojea yatokee ndio tuanze kutengeza vikao wakati watu tayari wanakuwa wenye kufa.
Watoto ya mwaka 17, mwaka 16 na pigwa risasi, sisi bado tuko uchungu. Watoto mtu bado fika kiwango ya kupigwa risasi na hawana risasi ya kupiga polisi, lakini hao wanapigwa iko wanatoroka, wanapigwa kifuani, unaona, anapiga mgongoni. Kwa hivyo mpaka saa hii usiamushe kinono yetu. Kwa hivyo serikali aweke siku maalum ya kuweka nini, surrender, ya kusema sisi samaa hivyo na vile.
Kwa nini serikali isitumie mbinu ya kuajiri walimu ambao ni majasusi, walimu ambao wapelekwe shule ya ujasusi? Nakumbuka nikienda college kule Iregi, tulikuwa na majasusi, kumbe tunasoma na maskari, tunadhani walimu wenzetu, kumbe ni maskari wanakuja kutupeleleza kujua kitu gani kinachoendelea. Ikiwa serikali itafanya jambo hili kila shule kwa siri ya juu sana,
mtu yote akitowajibika katika kazi yake ni muhimu ajiondoe, na ndio heshima. Mtu yoyote atakayeshindwa kusimamia majukumu ni vizuri ajiuzulu, kwa sababu ampe mtu ambaye nafasi ambaye mwingine anaweza kuendesha wizara.
En logoiywek alak ko sirindet noton nebo katuiyetabgei nebo kiboitinik en emoni Koto Francis Atwoli kone konu kursit nebo kekerele kakimuch kegusi kong ak ketegis magutik choton chebo kiboitinik. Kosubkei ak Atwoli komwoe kole magat en kiboitinik anan biik choton ak kampunisiek chesire kiboitinik boisiet koker kole kaimuch kotegis tilet nebo kapkirwok. Manyolu kitaban kiboitinik kikimuch en kesiren kasara na casual workers. Akot kou noton komwoe kole magat kikochi ichek boroindo nebo kochut katuiyosiek chebo kiboitinik oret agenge nebo kokoitochi ichek magutikwak.
Employers and those who are involved, because we have so many agencies, private companies that have hired people that they use them as merchandise, as slave trade to whoever wants to hire them, and then they are underpaid. You find that somebody who comes to your enterprise or he has been employed where you are working, you are doing the same job, the same education you have, and this person is paid a half of what you are getting. And this has made employers to negate their primary requirement of making sure, to negate from their primary requirement of making sure that there is fair labor practices in our country. So I think this ruling is a milestone. We'll have to help most of our unions to negate from their primary requirement of making sure that there is fair labor practices in our country. So I think this ruling is a milestone. We'll have to help most of our unions into application of the modern industrial relations practice in this country.
En logoiywek alak ko kakokon kayamiset rubeiwotab president en emoni Professor Kithure Kindiki kole miten tai serikalit nebo emoni kobo koker kole kakimuch keistoegei tilet noton nebo ketik ak kwechet nebo itondo. Kong'ololi Kindiki en kasarta noton nekiboiboenji betut noton nebo Global Observance of the Certification en noton nebo 2026 en Vipingo County noton nebo Kilifi. Kokimit kole tetutik choton chebo ripset nebo itondo nebo emet akonde metusiek choton chebo kobo komonut missing en wendi kotoreti biikab emoni keistoegei walet nebo itondo nebo emet ak kora kenyor amitwogik cheyomotin. Ikimiti kole wendi kokeroni serikali biik choton chekitestai kobaor terchinet ak tiong'ik choton chebo timin noton nebo human wildlife conflict.
We are going to follow through on our commitments to fight desertification and drought as a country. We are going to continue being a responsible member of the United Nations family and other global arrangements that help us resolve this problem. My only call to the international community is that fighting desertification, fighting drought, is a shared commitment. It requires financing and it requires solidarity. And therefore, no one nation, no one part of the world can do this alone. Kwa hivyo, mwisho kabisa, maybe I should say this in English, finally, that part of the effects of desertification and degradation of rangelands is increased human-wildlife conflict. And we have seen the statistics have continuously increased because of the increasing encroachment and degradation that is happening in this space. So we must make sure we do not lose more productivity in the rangelands, because when land loses its productivity, farmers lose harvest, people lose income, pastoralists lose livestock, farmers lose harvest, people lose income, pastoralists lose livestock, communities lose water sources, young people lose opportunities, and the incidence and burden of poverty, conflict, displacement is the consequence of loss of productivity in the range.
En logoiywek alak koniton kokitestai keborchi terchinet en ng'alalutik en MPs kotinygei ak bilit noton nebo chepkondok noton ko Finance Bill 2026 en kasarta noton kakimuch kekon ng'alalet en bunge nebo boror. Ole alak en MPs chekaimuch kokon ng'alalet neter komwoe kole Finance Bill noton nebo 2026 kokimuch kinde aisurut ngoroik chebo mutumba. Ole iso kebeberta age tugul en nemwoe kole mamiten aisurut age tugul kokimuch ketesyi en tetutik anan ngoroik choton chebo anan ibunet nebo ngoroik choton chebo mitumba.
Agree with the National Treasury on payment of tax upon activation. So the status quo on how funds are charged tax remains, and we urge now that there be systems in place to make sure that mobile phones that are imported into the country without paying the required taxes, they administratively find a way of capturing those instead of burdening the taxpayer with extra responsibilities. Number two, on the issue of Mitumba, we have had extensive public participation, and we want to guarantee the members of the public that there is no any imposed taxation on Mitumba. It is true they want to zero rate the issue of Mutumba, but what they are not telling you is that they want now the VAT that people who trade in that business have been claiming, they will not be able to claim. That is the direct increment to the issue of Mutumba. And lastly, they will not be able to claim. That is the direct increment to the issue of Mutumba. And lastly, let me say the National Assembly is a place of debate. Why end a debate under Standing Order 95 that you do not want us to debate any further? You want us to vote. We came to...
Kitab Kalenjin kawanginetab kei nebo logoiwechoton bunu bunge kokakituch logoiywekab emet en koindo chekokitetunen en saini. Kongoi missing chi agetugul nekoker kole kaitun logoiwechu en oret neinegen. Kainenyun ko Daisy Langat, testai ketesioni Amon Kimii Gaa.